Hi, my name is Kyle. I make multiple six figures for my clients. In this video, I'm going to walk through how when I come to their business, kind of, sort of consult with them, how I decide what advertising strategy they should keep using or pivot to. As you can see on screen right now, loads of clients and results there. So you can see people say some cool stuff about me. So I'm confident I can help you too. So in this video, I'm going to walk through exactly that. Now, the first thing we have to understand, and it always comes back to, is what is the goal? Like, what is the reason we're doing this? What are we trying to achieve? What's the outcome we're looking for? That's the first thing I ask, first thing I try to understand whenever I speak to anyone. Because I will sometimes have people who want me to do this, this, and this. I'm asking why. Well, they say they want this outcome. And then I say, like, well, you already have this business here that's generating you loads of money, or you already have this strategy you're using that's already generating you loads of money. Why are we changing it? And then they say, because, I want variety. I want this. I'm like, why? Because I want to be more diverse. So that means there's less risk because if this one platform gets shut down or they get shut down on this one platform, it's like this other one. And again, that's a fairly good reason. So that's why we have to understand what is the goal we're going after and what are we really trying to achieve. So that's the first thing I ask when I'm consulting with a client, to find out where we need to go, to understand what strategy they should be using to get to their goal. So first, the next thing I'll ask after I find out their goal will then be, are you supply constrained or demand constrained? The reason I ask this is because this is related to capacity, which means that if I just gave you 2 times more jobs, could you take it on? Yes, no, that means you are demand constrained. If you couldn't, then that means you are supply constrained, which then dictates what channel you're going to use. That means you won't have to use a channel which will get as many customers through really quickly because you won't be able to handle it at this rate, which means the 4 things you can do, which is more, better, and new, essentially means at this rate, you should probably be doing more. So how this works is this is a scale of risk. Obviously, I've talked about quite a lot about risk on this channel. In terms of that, risk is directly proportional to growth. The more riskier approach you take, the higher chance of growth. But at the same time, not everyone needs to grow lightning fast. They just need to grow, because business is a game of staying in it. It's a game of outlasting everyone else. The longer you play the game, the more likely you are to stay in the game. The longer you play it, the more you win, because you're only winning if you're playing the game. So if you try and go really fast, you end up going out of business sooner, which means you then lose. Because you only lose when you quit. So if you're supply constrained, you don't need much more business. I don't just suggest doing more. Now, for example, of the things you can do, right, which is like outreach on multiple different channels, there's like email, DM, phone, cold calling. There's obviously ads, like Meta ads, Google ads, like Bing ads, Reddit ads, which are more popular. ChatGPT ads, which again, definitely more popular, and content as well. Of all these different channels that you can run, if you don't have much more space to take on new customers, you don't need to do loads and loads and loads more on these channels. First, you should obviously look at fixing your supply constraint. But how I decide what channel someone should use or continue using is based off if they're supply constrained or demand constrained. A lot of people will be demand constrained. If you're under $1 million a year, you're going to be demand constrained 9 times out of 10. So then from there, I go to number 2, which is, what are you currently doing? The reason I ask this is very simple, because if what they're currently doing is getting them results, then we can go and do more. The reason is because if you go and travel 50 miles to get to a lake, you know the lake's there and you know it's going to give you water. That's a certain journey you're making. So the risk you're taking to get to that lake isn't there anymore. Someone would have already made that and took that risk. So now you have certainty. So you should keep going to that lake to get water until it dries up. Now, in the meantime, if you have a little bit of spare resources left over and you feel like you're at the end of fully utilizing this lake, so you're near the end of drinking up all the water it can give you, that's when you should look to do something new. Better would be like, I can get a faster camel so I can get to the water quicker, right? So it's changing your approach on that main channel you're using to get more from it. For example, if you're doing outreach, let's just say for every 100 emails you send, you get one reply. Okay. From there, if you were able to adjust your approach so that you are now, let's say, you use emails with a better sending reputation, so they are less likely to land in spam. For every 100, you now get 2, which is a 100% increase, which is a double, which is really, really good. And that would be a case of doing better. So you're still on the same advertising channel, doing cold outreach, but you've made it better. Now, new has a bunch of different ways things can be new. So with new, you've got new platform. So let's say you're going from, if you're doing content, you go from YouTube to Instagram. You've got a new placement, which would be thinking about, let's say on YouTube, you start to post YouTube Shorts as well. So you're still on the same platform, but you also have a different placement. This would go above here in terms of like least riskiest options. And at the bottom, you do whole new strategy, which would mean you do one of these now. So that means, let's say you're going from email to ads, or you're going from ads to content. That would be a whole new strategy. So when I ask, what are you currently doing? I'm trying to find out where are they getting results at the moment, because 9 times out of 10, they should just keep with that. I had some guy come to me who was doing Instagram content, and he was looking to sell like a $25 thing. And he said to me like, oh, should I be trying this? Like, should I send like this funnel and stuff? I'm like, well, what's your goal? He's like, well, I want to make like 10 to 20K a month. I was like, okay, can you do this with what you're currently doing? And he's like, yeah, I think so. I was like, well, just keep doing that. If you believe your current strategy and your current methods can get you to where you want to get to, just keep doing that. You don't need to diverse yourself. There's no point diversing yourself until you've actually gotten the fruits of your labor, the fruits of the path you're currently going down, that you're trying to get something from. Now, there's no harm in trying or going to other platforms to try new things or see if like there's a better one for you. Like, I'm all for giving things a try, like run a 30-day, 90-day test whilst you're doing your main thing. See, look, oh, is this viable? Is this a genuine path I can use? That is a good thing to try. But at the same time, you shouldn't spend like loads and loads of time focusing on platforms which aren't generating you results. Like, for example, I think I've spoken about this before, but let's say you're running ads and you're also doing content, and this makes you, I don't know, 20K a month, and you spend 80% of the time there, and this makes you 80K a month, and you spend 20% of the time there. Which should you focus more time on? Clearly this one. Because if you increase this by 4, that'll go from 80 to 320K, and then this should become 20%. Do you see what I mean? You really need to focus on where you're allocating your time and what it's going towards. So what are you currently doing is the next thing I ask. And then third and finally, I ask, how quickly do you want to see results? Again, a factor of risk. How quickly you want to see results determines the advertising channel that you use. The quickest one is going to be ads. So if someone's doing outreach or content right now, they're not going to be seeing results as quickly as they would if they ran ads. But that may be okay because they aren't as willing to risk as much capital, as much time going into that strategy. So that means, yes, they have a longer runway to see results, but it's spread out a longer time frame, so it's not as cash flow intensive. Like, it won't take as much money straight up, it won't take as much time from them straight away. So they can build an audience slowly and slowly and slowly, get a few customers from there. Then once they've done that, then they can transition to ads, take more risk there. They'll have more proof that they can use and show on the page, in the VSL, or in a webinar, for example, however you want to run your ad strategy. But if someone wants to grow quickly, I'm like, well, you need to run ads. And then we choose, okay, well, what platforms? Where are your customers on? Usually it's either going to be Meta or Google. I think in this day and age, Google's not as strong as it used to be. Search for sure, not really YouTube because of YouTube Premium. But yeah, so Meta is the main way. People are obviously advertising these days. ChatGPT is on the rise and stuff like that. So if you have an offer which is for students, probably a really good strategy there. So those are the 3 questions I ask. Are you supply constrained or demand constrained? Because that helps me decide if you need to do a completely new strategy to get a load of new customers, or just slightly improve on the current thing you're doing. Then I ask, what are you currently doing, to find out, all right, can we just keep going to the same source where you get customers from, just to get 10 times more from there? Then thirdly, I ask, how quickly do you want to see results? So I can actually help dictate what platform they use if they need a new strategy, if they've already maximized their current spot where they're getting customers from. or if they just want to move 10 times quicker. And a lot of my clients do, so we end up running ads and they move 10 times quicker. So, hope you found this valuable. Have a good rest of your day. Be generous, work hard, take risks. We'll speak soon.